Hey everybody, this is Steve Krause. I'm coming at you today from my home office. And I just wanted to record a brief video to update you on a couple of things that are going on. We're near the end of week 2, and I know it seems kind of strange to think of it this way, but the end of week 2 is like the end of week 4. So stuff is just careening down a hill at a crazy pace, but that's the whole 7.5 week thing. For the most part, I think people are doing a pretty good job of keeping up with it, but there's just a couple things I want to let you know about that, things that are coming up and things to be on the lookout for and things like that. First, everybody posted an update on the social media project. By the time I post this video, I should be done commenting on everybody's projects or updates. I post comments in two different ways. One is as a comment on your blog, and you will probably have to approve comments because most of you have your WordPress set up so that comments are held in moderation until you as the moderator approve them. So you'll probably want to do that. And if you want to look at other people's projects, it'd be good to approve their comments as well. The other place that I comment on them is on EMU Online, and I just have a little text in the gradebook for that. For the most part, I think people are doing fine on this. All I was really looking for initially is just to make sure that people have picked appropriate social media venues to experiment with this semester. A lot of folks are working with Pinterest, which I think is a really interesting, weird site. So I'll be interested in reading more about that. But the first step in the process is just getting started, and you'll see my comments in there just basically that seems fine and so forth. The next thing I want to mention is that by Friday of this week, which probably when I'm posting this is tomorrow, but it could be today, depending on when I post this, you need to have emailed me a copy of whatever text it is that you're planning on transferring into a website for the second part of the text to hypertext assignment. Read through that assignment again. Several of you have already sent me this, and I haven't had a chance to respond to any of those yet. That's the thing I'm also going to be doing here shortly. And so hopefully many of you, by the time you're seeing this video, will have actually gotten some sort of response from me. If you have questions about what to include or what's a possibility for that, just let me know. Read over the assignment, etc. The thing that's really important is it has to be something that you have all the rights to. So in other words, you can't take a short story from Hemingway and transfer it into a hypertext document because you probably don't have the rights for that. So that's why I'm asking you to use something that you actually wrote. That's the easiest way to do that. If you're a graduate student, and I think there are 3 of you in the class right now, you also need to email me by Friday information about who it is that you are planning on interviewing for the mediated interview project. Okay? Have questions about that? We'll read over the assignment. But basically what you want to do is you want to find a real person out there in the world who you can interview about some of the aspects of the class that we're talking about. And this person that you find in the world has to have some level of expertise on the subject matter. Now, one way to find an expert in this is to look through some of the works cited stuff, for example, in Shirky, and potentially email them, or look through some of the other sort of like things that are listed on the course syllabus for readings and potentially email some of those folks. I've had a lot of students in the past who, having done this, what they did is they know somebody who does advertising online, and so they contacted them, or they know somebody who does media for a zoo in Kalamazoo or something like that, or they know. In other words, it turns out that previously most of my graduate students have known somebody directly or indirectly that they could contact, and that's a totally fine, legitimate contact for this assignment. Again, let me know by Friday if you're running into trouble with it. I'll try to help sort that out. Oh, and one more thing about that. Let me know by Friday so we can start thinking about a schedule for when you'll do this interview and then when you'll present this interview as part of the class website. The last thing I want to mention is that starting on Monday, we'll read the second half of the Krug Rocket Surgery Made Easy book. We need to start generating some questions that we would ask for our own sort of mini version of usability testing. You can meditate about this over the weekend, and I'll explain it more on Monday. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple of different program sites at EMU. Programs a major. A couple of different program sites at EMU. And I'm not going to tell you what they are yet because, I want them to be fresh. I want to come up with the questions first. And the easiest way to imagine this is, and I'll come up with some questions too that are perhaps unique, but if you are going to major in X, and it really doesn't matter what X is, if you're going to major in X and you were coming to an EMU website to find out about that undergraduate or graduate major in X, what kinds of questions do you think you would naturally have? Okay, so think about that, and we'll start talking about that more on Monday. I think that's about it. The only other thing I'm going to mention is that I'm not going to be having office hours this week because I'm actually going to be up in Traverse City. And we're leaving on Sunday, and we'll be back on the following Sunday. But, you know, as I mentioned at the beginning of the semester, if you're going to do travel like this, you have to make sure that you have access to the internets and stuff. And we'll be staying at a lovely cabin that actually has Wi-Fi. So for your purposes and for my purposes, not a whole lot's going to change. But if for some reason you said, oh, I have to meet with them in person next week, that's not going to happen. Okay, I think that's it. See you online.